We're good. Go ahead, Peter. What was the story?
Oh, first of all, hey everybody. That was very good. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Ed, for coming to my house. Second time for Garrett. Yeah. So first of all, as far as we're a little bit off topic today. Today's kind of random. So I think as I'm contemplating my future about when to retire, it's always a very sensitive, because I think part of it is I live in my own family culture where everyone worked until they die. I mean, there's that mentality like we got to keep working. I think my mom retired 67.
Go ahead. I want to tell you my family, but go ahead.
Right. My dad actually had a medical condition. It's called emphysema.
Yes.
And so I'm smoking. Even though he quit a long time ago, and that's kind of a horrible way to have a disease because you can't breathe.
I know lung cancer.
Yeah.
My father's
cannot breathe. That. So back to the retirement. I know a doctor, as an OB/GYN doctor. He just want to keep working. I mean, and there are some people just cannot stop work because they don't know what to do. And you have heard people when they start working, they die.
Yeah, of course. I'll be the same way.
Right. So we had to really pray that, like, hey, God, where is the cutoff? And show me, reveal to me. No one's going to have the right answer. So I have one colleague who was an OB/GYN. I don't exactly say, but he's in the 70s, probably. So it was shared to me that, he would deliver a baby. And it's not even necessarily his fault or anything, but the baby got decapitated during the delivery.
How does that work? That sounds crazy.
Yes, it's a complicated
this is
delivery.
Very
complicated delivery. And
so it must have been
so he quit after that.
Yeah, okay, I believe it.
Well, I mean, it's so traumatic. So we don't want to get to a point in our life where, again, it's probably nothing. There are complications. Well, decapitation is a rough word, but something happened to the baby's neck.
The neck.
Yeah, it's a neck. So it happens. So we don't want to end. Sometimes we want to end in a high note.
I understand, like an athlete. You do not want to retire. Like most fighters, you go too long.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, So somehow, as I contemplate my retirement, it would be like I don't want to end. It's something like I could have done better, and kind of know when to fold. Kenny Rogers came to our
Is that a baseball
orchestra.
player? Or who's that? Is that singer?
Yes, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton.
Okay, sorry.
Well, so one of his most famous songs is "The Gambler." You got to know when to hold it and when to fold it. That's like I don't play poker, but apparently, like you need to know when to fold.
Of course.
Right. Then instead of keep putting money down and lose it all, right? So I think for retirement or whatever we do, we got to know kind of like where the cutoff is before we go too much at it.
I think maybe what I'm hearing is it's hard to make transitions. And you need to make sure to try to make it as smoothly as possible.
Yeah,
exactly. You're trying to transition from a GI doctor to the next phase of your life.
Sure.
Is that what you're kind of hinting at?
Yeah, I know when to say, hey, I can't keep up with what I used to be able to do, and just know when to start cutting back. Another thing crazy thing about allegations and things. So when I examine a male patient, I need a chaperone now. Why?
Yeah.
Because the male doctor gets sued.
Not just female, so for male too.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
for private parts.
Yeah.
The male doctor?
I need a chaperone to examine the male.
Let me just side note.
Yeah.
Is a camera not allowed? Like is that?
No.
You're
You
not allowed to have
can't.
cameras?
Well, I'm a gastro doctor. I examine private parts.
So you can't have a camera? Because I know my chiropractor has a camera. That could be. That's okay.
I guess no. I don't. I cannot foresee that being allowed.
Okay,
But
so
to tell you how careful in our culture, because I think the male doctor, one of the male doctors, got accused of being violating him.
I'm sure. Your
without
practice
permission. You would think that a lot of times say, "Hey, Mr. Jones, I'd like to examine you. Is that okay?" But nowadays, even that is not good enough.
So before
you can be accused of doing something to him.
So before with a female, you would have someone there?
No, that's mandatory.
Yeah, always.
Oh, it's mandatory?
But now it doesn't matter anymore.
Is that mandatory for OB/GYN too?
I don't know, but I would assume so now.
Because I don't think that was the case. Maybe
No, things
7 years ago.
have changed. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's different policy. I can speak for I can only speak for my specialty.
My
But
wife
just to
went to
tell you,
OBGYN.
I mean, you see a GI doctor, you have a problem with your bottom half.
Yeah.
What do you expect me to do?
You gotta go in.
I can't pray, I can't just wave my hand over you. Figure, if I'm a hemorrhoid problem, I wouldn't know what to do unless I check.
You got to open up the hood.
Yeah, exactly. But then if I don't want to violate somebody without permission with a chaperone. Okay, so that's to let you know, kind of like
teaching's the same way.
Well, no, a lot of people do teach by themselves, but let's just say this: when you have this is for Edward. Hopefully you're not. When you go into the meeting and you sit down, there are a lot of other people on the other side. You know it's not going to be a good meeting because they need more witnesses. If it's a one-on-one, it's not going to be as big a deal. If you have other people there, that's for their own protection, I think. So you can't say something happened that didn't happen.
You need witnesses.
All right, Peter. So just what we're doing today, because I enjoyed talking to Peter so much.
Oh, you too kind.
And by the way, just a side note, not only do I like Peter, I love his daughter.
Family.
We love his family.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I don't know Ethan as well, but Corinne has been
Yeah.
probably, I kid you, Peter, she's the most loyal girl in the entire history of me hanging out. Because she's been there for over,
Thank you.
I don't know, like 12 years. She's been kind of around.
Yes.
And she keeps coming
That's her
back, so I
personality.
appreciate her.
That's her personality, and
She's very loyal. And that's, you know what, Peter, I know that you probably think but you know what, when you get older,
yes.
it'll all pay off.
Right. Well, she's shown that already with
yeah.
With my mom and grandma.
Yeah,
she
she's-
spent part of her Christmas break being on call with with.
I hope my daughter can be like that.
Well, it's like it's just like everything. I wish I have a better this, and that, but it's
Daughter's great, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
She's great.
amen.
And
Uh,
what else do we want to say? So last time we talked about Peter, if you didn't get a chance to listen to his podcast, we talked about his childhood. We talked about
School.
coming to America.
yes.
We talked about him working his A word off thanks to the help of your sponsor, right? Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew, if you're listening, please sponsor him.
Absolutely. I want to cut.
You want to come out? And we talked about going to college, and that took a long time. And we talked about your testimony and Howard Huey
Yes.
as one of the guys and you talked about you going to CCC retreat and say, you know what, I want to be a Christian. And we stopped at your college career. And so this time what I wanted to hear, which I know nothing about, and this is probably more important to me now that I'm older, I wanted to hear more about your career, how you got married,
Yeah.
how to be a father and husband, and how to run a business. As I too am touching all these things: career, fatherhood,
Businessman.
and business.
Yes.
How do you balance all these things? So this is the second half of your life.
Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you, Gary, for coming to listen to my chit chat today.
Yeah.
I don't have a magic formula. It's all by grace. It's all working within the boundary of the Holy Bible and having God lead me, because we are all like sheep that go astray. I from church, sheep they tend to wander. They're kind of dumb animals. They wander, and we need a shepherd. So I think faith is, first of all, that is the Lord Jesus, God is the light, and He leads my path. So I want to begin with that.
Sorry,
I know. I want to begin. Always want to begin with.
I do know. I do want to. Let me highlight the last thing.
Yeah.
The last thing that Peter said is, "I don't want you to think, wow, I'm a great guy." That's what you said.
Yes.
And you said, "I want you to know that
Yes.
I'm very thankful for all that God has done."
Absolutely.
Basically, kind of rephrasing.
And-
So you ended on that point.
Yes, and I want to begin with that point, and
So
I'm
there
going
we
to end
are.
it with a point. So what Garrett was talking about is, I'm honored to have Garrett ever come talk to me. I'm here not to say, hey, can you listen to all these great things I've done? All these great things I have, all these great things, all the experiences I have in life. It's not about me. It's like, I want that, well, part of it's like a legacy. It's say, hey, when you listen to this, God can be with you just like he was with me or is with me. So I want to begin with that. It's about how I want us to say, wow, there's a God. Wow, what he can do, what he will do. So we'll start with that.
Okay.
We'll start with that. And
so let's go to let's start off. You finish your GI. You talked about this a little bit. I can't remember.
Well, actually, we can go back to college. Let's talk about
go
college.
back to University of Virginia.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's just take. I want to go back just a little bit more
Virginia,
in high school, and a little bit in high school.
Okay,
a little bit high school. So really, that's kind of well. Let's go back a little bit, maybe a little bit more. I keep telling, and this is a story that I'm kind of proud of to share with my relatives. So I never passed second grade. I had to repeat second grade.
Is this your first year in America?
We mentioned it. No. This is in Hong Kong. So let's just. I hate to. Let's go back real quickly. We'll go back because that's very important. Because my mom who went to the United States for 3 years to get us a green card, and during that time there were 4 of us, and with a 60-year-old grandma and my dad who worked his tail off. So we were by ourselves, and I'm just not a good student. And in Hong Kong, you're ranked by your class. Your class is by class rank.
Make sure it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, it's good.
By class rank. So there were 44 students in my second grade. I was number 43 on the report card. Okay, so I want to start with that.
43.
43 or 44, and you're not gonna pass.
When you say 43, like from last.
Yeah. Right. So 40. So I stayed back, and back then I have no shame. So okay, great. I could have stayed back a year.
You don't even care?
No, not at all.
Damn.
Yeah. So and then in class, and then right around when I repeated my second grade, word came from my mom, come to the United States. So I told my teacher. Oh, by the way, in Hong Kong, there's a homeroom teacher. She would teach everything. Sure. So it just so happened that day I told my teacher we were studying Florida about the citrus crop, about Florida is famous for their fruits, their oranges. So I told my teacher in class, I said, hey, I just got word I'm going to the United States. So the teacher looked at me and said, you see this chapter we're studying about Florida? Mr. Wong is going to go to the United States to pick oranges.
You want to be Latino, a sharecropper.
Yeah, so, and no, at that, I was second grade, I'm like,
what's that mean?
Great, I love oranges. That's what a good idea. So here's how so that's how I grew up. Even my second grade teacher would have no faith in me.
Let me ask you, were you dumb or were you lazy or both?
Both. It's naive, it's dumb, it's like, I have no idea what that means. Until I told my parents, when I was a teenager, they were shocked. But anyway, that's another story.
Peter, I just let you know, Edward knows this. I almost got held back in kindergarten and first grade, but mine was dumb.
So God's good. That's how I came in. I say I was third grade. I'm always a year older than everybody. So in a way, it's good. I did not know any English, so it gives me I'm a little more mature.
But also you're short. It helps.
Yeah. Well, everybody in the United States is taller than me. So with a quick. So when I accepted the Lord at age 14, the Holy Spirit inspired me, that my mind opened up. So from 8th grade on, it's always straight A's.
All business.
Wow. Opened my mind and loved science and math. That's the key, right? So when I was 5, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I'm going backward again. That you have to be a good student and good at math and science. And of course, I met Roy at church, who gave me an amazing experience at Walter Reed.
Did he doubt you at first?
No doubt at all.
He believed that you
absolutely,
you were, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Just a side. I'm wondering, do you think a lot of people? I assume this. People, a lot of kids grew up in the church. A lot of families who, Roy's a doctor. I bet. Do you think a lot of people came up to Roy's parents and said, hey, could you talk to my son? He's interested in being a doctor. Is that what happened? And you were one of these people, or you?
No. Mine's different. Mine's a genuine desire, because I told you I was 5. It was my idea. I don't know why, Garrett. I don't know why. I don't think necessarily. I think it's just. I think part of it maybe is my culture. We were poor, and we're like there's an image, and a guy in the white coat is like. clean, sharp. And somehow that got to my brain. So anyway, but that is a dream. Just like all of us can dream to be an astronaut.
Do you think so, Roy? Do you think a lot of people aspired to be like Roy, or you were kind of unique?
No, I think it was unique. And I even
as a doctor,
today I don't push Corinne and Ethan. I say, hey, you need to be a doctor, right, Corinne?
Side note, do people?
Corinne, did I ever mention that you need to be a doctor?
Yes.
Okay, well maybe
Corinne. Actually, Corinne, I want to interview you. You're gonna have your own side of the story in the future.
Yeah, but
my dad. Everything you heard about my dad was wrong. He's a terrible.
Well, at least not often.
Not often.
Did I tell Ethan to be a doctor?
No, because you were set on me being a doctor, so you let him do it.
Hey, Corinne, just let you know.
It's a learn from mistake, okay? So
my dad told me never to be a dentist because he said it was too stressful. And number two, I can never be because I don't have the brains for it. But
well, no, okay. Well,
go ahead. So you wanted to be a doctor.
Okay, I want to keep the options open for my kids. Okay, go ahead.
So you talked to Roy, and he took you at your word. Did you have a relationship with Roy before then, or did you start?
No. We had pretty good. I mean, I knew Roy for a long time. So no, we had a very strong relationship, and throughout especially when I started working with him, I think our relationship.
Corinne is here. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
Say hi, Corinne.
Hi.
She's a lovely girl, and she's serving Edward by bringing Chick-fil-A for him.
Yeah.
What a nice young lady, guys. Oh yeah, she's already dating. Apologize.
So yeah, we got back to Roy. No, ever since when I started working with Roy, our relationship really deepened because Roy's an amazing prayer warrior. It's something about his prayer with me and giving me lots of just sound advice and giving me talking to a father and a son, even though I have the same name as his son.
May I provide a caveat though?
Yeah.
I bet you your relationship deepened because you weren't incompetent.
Well, maybe.
If you were incompetent, Roy would be like, okay, that was good. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, so I think I showed Roy that genuine, the first 2 summers, I was a volunteer, right? I wasn't expecting much. I just want that experience, and I did, and we continue to, I continue to work at Walter Reed and get to know Roy in a deep way. So back to college, so I settled down at Virginia Tech because most of my friends went there. So I had a great time, and I did very well. I think I was Magna, but that's not even the point. Is yeah, but I'm not just.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I had to. So I'm not born smart, but I had to study to be smart.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the key word. And to do that, and I'm very competitive back then. So even my roommate was even more competitive. He was an electrical engineer. He and I would literally brag about how long we stayed up and how about our report cards and about we're very competitive. I try to not to be in a nasty way, but yeah, my roommate was an electrical engineer. Man, he was super smart and he would stay up like 3 nights. I couldn't hack 3 nights. I think 2 nights was my max of staying up.
Don't worry, he probably took about 5 years off his life.
Yeah, probably. And then he also drank Mountain Dew, so there were 2 of us drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to drink Mountain Dew too.
Yeah.
But you know what happened? I got a caffeine addiction, and I realized, you know what? Too much caffeine is not good.
Yeah.
I started getting headaches.
I took risk, so I took that risk and but I stayed very active. There was the Chinese American Association. I played for the basketball team.
Yeah, you see you playing in
the basketball team tomorrow against other Asian. We did okay, we couldn't beat the Koreans. The Koreans were too strong.
They're too big. They're too tall.
Yeah, they're
Peter, if I was on your team, we'd be all right.
I wish. Yeah, we did have. Yeah, so there were so many Koreans. There were 2 teams in the Jumeirah. They have A and B, and we only had 1 Chinese and 1 Vietnamese and 1 Filipino, I think, or whatever.
Oh man, I would have replaced the Vietnamese guy. I'm sure he wasn't very tall.
Yeah, right. So we did good. I had a great run at it.
Yeah.
And I played in the orchestra, and I had a very balanced life.
I guess what you're saying is, even though you worked your butt off, you still had the time to do other things. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. one of my blessings in life is always being very versatile. Whether in music or in sports, I always like to meet different people with different. Like I don't know what it is. I just always have this. I feel I can do anything if I want to do, and life is like a candy shop for me. In life I like when I see something I say I can do this.
It's true.
I can do that.
It's true, Roy. Peter, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And just as a teacher, there are two kinds of kids. Kids who are emotionally fragile, which I think is the most important ingredient for success. If you're emotionally fragile, you're not going to do anything because you're afraid of always getting hurt. The other people are risk takers because they don't feel like if they fail, it's going to be the end of the world. You're kind of the second person.
Yeah, I think definitely got from my mom. I told you my mom by herself came to the United States and yet have that relationship with my father for 3 years from I think 72 to 74 or 71, 74. We'd come back once a year to see us and to be with my dad. Can you imagine? Can you imagine not seeing your kids and your wife for one day? So when even for me, when I had Ethan Corinne, I mean every day it's a big deal. You come home and it's like something has changed. It all changes. Particularly a kid. Oh, he's teething. He's eating a little solid food. And I'm saying this because you'll be father. So I cannot even imagine, 3 years, you go there once a year to purchase expensive airline tickets to see your kids.
I think Peter, I agree with you, but you know what? I think more I will say is just you're probably a good father, and I don't think every parent feels that way, but you certainly are probably better than the average parent.
Well, thank you. Like I said, whenever I thank you for the accolades, but every time I see it, I'm blessed. But also, you can tell because I'm high strung, I'm type A, and I think part of it is I may have formed some personality.
You can't be successul without being type A to some degree. You gotta be.
So there is a part of me too because if I can do it, you can do it. And I do. I think it's a psychological thing that I pass to my kids because if I can, then I won't say it, right? I won't say, well, you should do it, but more like you can do it. And I do feel like I probably do put pressure on them, and more of a silent way now as we talk. But as something that I'm learning and something I need to do better at how to channel that. But I'm very blessed as they grow up. I let go. There's certain things I did the best I could up to when they graduate.
You know what?
That's my cutoff.
I think that's the second thing. Is transitioning. We don't have to go there yet, but not just part-time retirement, but learning to accept your children as adults now. It's also another transition.
Yes, it's a learning.
Yeah.
And I push myself, and sometimes I expect to push my kids because I push myself. If I can do it, then you can do it. But it doesn't work like that.
Let me ask Edward, what do you think? Listen to Peter. I feel like there's a lot of overlap between him and I, except the only difference is his salary might be a little higher than mine, and he's older.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Edward. What do you think? Listening to
Both of you are pretty high strung.
and
trying to push others.
Yeah. So you see.
Type A personality. Yeah.
We can't help it.
You can't help
Yeah,
it.
it's
That's
happy.
Okay, so let's go back to you were saying in college.
Yes.
And you were talking about being rich in tech. You had a good time.
Yes, I did. It's very isolated, and there are not a lot of Asians. But to me, they never bother me. It's like, it bothers even my kids. Like they feel like this area is too white for them. To me, it's like I don't really care. I can thrive.
You're a survivor.
I can thrive. No matter you put me all black or Hispanic,
Which you
or
have
white.
been. Which you have been.
I did. Well, actually, interesting.
He's
you
all
say
black
that.
in a basketball court.
Oh, so in Thompson's all black.
Yeah.
All African American. Sorry, I want to use it. And then when I went to middle school, it's all Hispanic. That's how I went to play soccer.
This is in
This is DC?
No, this is in
Hardy.
Virginia.
No.
Oh, Hardy?
Hardy Middle School in Georgia.
Hardy?
Okay.
So Latinos, they're quite big. And I play soccer there.
Yeah.
And there's some African American. I play basketball with them. High school. So it's a transition with different society. I adapt, and then I learn and respect
Yes.
each other.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I
can definitely
I
tell you
adapt.
how-
I really like fit in. I don't. You can put me anywhere. I probably fit in.
I can tell he has diverse background by his vernacular. Every so often, the black will come out
Yeah,
slightly,
yeah.
just and the DC will come out.
Yo,
Working here.
yeah, you see it. Well, I would say, hey, yo,
I like the greeting when I came in. Just
yo.
I didn't expect.
A little bit of an urban.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, Virginia Tech. And how did that prepare you for being a GI doctor?
Well, first of all, I applied to I applied locally. I don't remember where I applied. I only applied for a few medical school. At GW, I got in. UVA, I got it, and then Eastern Virginia. So Eastern Virginia in Norfolk.
Okay.
Yeah. So Charlottesville would make the most sense for me.
Is that the best medical school?
I'm biased. I would say so in Virginia.
And
Yeah.
you said that having the experience at Walter Reed really shot you, put your head correct in terms
Yes.
of medical.
Well, thank you, Roy.
Shout out to Roy.
Thank you, Roy. Because at Walter Reed, I was able to do research.
And you had published papers,
Many.
which is unusual.
I would say at least a dozen. And for someone in college with a dozen paper in a major journal,
Yes.
yes,
That was
hot.
number Roy.
So
And Corinne.
GPA was good. My
Yeah.
test score wasn't that great. It was
Yeah.
very average. Or barely hit the median.
Yeah.
Maybe So all graduate schools are very competitive. So I think definitely having a well-rounded in verse and different
Okay.
different talents and especially so. UVA. I was at probably the bottom of my class.
When you got the UVA,
Yes.
do you feel like you fit in or you struggle? You're saying
No, I fit in. Very ultra smart people because we are talk about cream of the crops. Yeah.
did you fit in personality wise?
Yes, I did.
Culturally? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no issue. But I thought I studied hard in college. I studied at least, if not more. Yeah, because everything goes very quickly. And literally, you have a chapter on human anatomy that you have to learn in a week.
No, so my father said the same thing.
Very.
First day of class, he goes, "All right, guys, by Wednesday, you're supposed to know every bone in the body. All right, that's it. Bye."
Yeah, that's
Like
it.
that,
All the
shut up.
nerve, all the blood vessels, and all the muscles.
You just it's faster.
Much fast paced. So it went by very quickly. But I have a few close friends. We would hang out playing football. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably sleep. Half asleep.
Yeah.
No, half
I
asleep
gave up
before.
music. There was no way I can hack with music because too much time. So just study, sleep, and some little mild social.
Okay.
I couldn't afford medical school. It was way too expensive. So that's when again where Roy came in.
Medical Army.
Army, yeah.
Yes.
So there's a program called Health Professional, HPSP, Health Professional Scholar Program. Sorry if I didn't remember correctly. But so I applied for scholarship. I got accepted, and they pay for my medical school. I have to play soldier during the summertime.
You had to play soldier. Reserve.
soldier.
Is that what it's like?
And that's how reserve is. You go to. It's always in San Antonio because that's the.
must be
the
hot.
hub is that is a hub of all medical training.
Oh, okay.
So I was, and I already got connected to. There's only one Chinese church, so as soon as I get there, I will hook up to a Chinese church.
So anything else from
Yeah.
UVA
Yeah.
that defines your medical or career?
It's definitely what I wanted to do. I never gave up on it. I knew this what I wanted to do.
The residency, did the residency kick your butt? Any stories from that? Like in terms of
thank you for there's a lot of great stories. So the way medical school is different right now, but it's split in half. The first year is pure science. It's all textbook. The last two is all clinical.
Yeah.
That's when so my very first rotation, after my 2 years of academic,
Wow.
it's it's cardiovascular surgery.
Yeah.
And that's when you meet the gods.
The gods.
The gods. I met the gods.
Ben Carson. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I met the gods. And these
top
are the
shot.
macho guys, man. I'm telling you. So first thing, I walk into the operating room. He said, "Hey, you."
He's sizing you up, right?
Oh yeah, come over here. I need you to hold this heart for me.
Hold the heart.
So this guy just got his heart cut out to get a transplant.
Sounds like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, so he cut this guy's heart out, and then he just put it on my hand and said, "Hey, I want you to hold this and don't drop it."
Are you allowed to do this anymore?
I don't know. What's behind that operating room? You don't know what they do.
Because I heard that a lot of these practices had changed because like sleep deprivation.
Yes, no, things have changed.
But go ahead.
But it's like wake up call. Oh, you went from like
classroom.
Barely touch anybody into a human heart in your head.
Yeah.
That beating heart. It really I grew up very quickly.
This is rite of passage.
Right. And then it's all the macho thing too. So how many hours did you stay up?
Let me ask you a question.
Slept?
When you say macho,
Yeah.
what percentage of your
Yeah.
classmates were men?
Yeah. Well, back then, things have, right now, by the way, it's all more female doctors everywhere in college and in graduate school, it's more female. So, no, I think maybe like 60-40 male. It's not.
Because do they treat the women the same way? Come over, young lady.
Yeah, I don't know. I think so, but I think still that mentality, like, you got to be tough.
I assume, because so the women have the same mentality.
Yeah,
I got to be tough too.
You can be tough.
Okay.
You know, like, what? You slept on your call? What's wrong with you? You should be up, you should be tough.
You loser.
Yeah. Well, I'm exaggerating.
I don't believe it.
I'm exaggerating. I'm not saying they say that.
But you feel it.
But it's a culture like, oh, okay.
100%.
Yeah, especially the surgical field. I want to, so it's not
You
as.
said we're not talking about, we're talking about the demigods.
Yeah. So in a
Of medical.
in the cardiovascular, the surgeon would say, "Oh yeah, I put a Foley catheter in me because I didn't want to pee."
That means they just pee on the spot.
Right, you pee on the spot.
Because you have long surgeries, right?
Oh yeah, for the cardiothoracic, they could be 8 hours.
That's why I asked Roy the same question.
Yeah.
I asked Roy the question. I said, just a side note. I said, Ben Carson is running for president.
Mm-hmm.
He was a neurosurgeon, brain surgeon. I said, Roy, do you think you could be the president of the United States? And this is where Roy said, no, man, those guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Those guys will do surgery for 12 hours straight for brains. My surgeries only take about an hour and a half. So basically, he was saying that there are levels to the medical, like cardiovascular, I assume, is one of the harder fields.
Yeah, I think it's not even like smart. You also have to have the stamina.
Yeah,
right?
like I say, he says like they have grit.
Yeah, the grit. Yeah, so it's not just brain knowledge, but you really have to.
You have
psychological, mental capacity.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead with your.
No, I think that's probably the awakening part. But again, I think I've been blessed with a super focused person. So once I knew I worked with Roy, I like GI, gastroenterology, and throughout the whole, I rotate through everything to make sure that I got the balance training. Mm-hmm. But I never waver. That is what I want to do. Actually make it very easy for me in a way.
Did you think that you had to step up your game, or you feel like you were ready for it? Like when you saw the challenge, this is what I was made for, and you were good at it, or do you feel like you were overwhelmed at those moments?
Well, there's going to be a mixture. It's a mixture, but I think part of just my personality is that I don't give up very easy.
Do you feel like you did better than a lot of your classmates? You were more up for the challenge?
In a way, I didn't rank very well in medical school, but I'm not actually ashamed of it, because if you can get there, you already.
I mean, you're coming from orange picking.
Pretty much.
You're pretty good.
So no, as long as I kept up, I do well. I get good recommendation, so it was good.
What about sleep deprivation? Were you able to handle that better than your classmates that you've always were?
Yeah, I think a little bit better than others, but then residency even worse.
Yeah.
So, we can speed up my progression.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to Walter Reed I joined the Army, and I had to go to a military hospital. So I went to Walter Reed, and it was rough, the residency, particularly in internal medicine, because so you're on call every third day. That is tremendous.
That means you don't sleep, right?
Right. So every third day means you will take admission to the emergency room, and those people are sick. They're coming in, they get admitted. You got to tuck them in, write all the orders. So not much sleep, like a couple of hours. And so it's a 36-hour shift. So morning at 7, and then you go through the night, and you leave about 5.
What's the most you ever stayed up nonstop?
I think up all night, and then.
How many hours? Like 48 hours, 72 hours?
No, I think it's so 24, so 24, said 5, 10 plus, it's about 34 hours, 36 hours. Yeah, so you wouldn't sleep at all. So 7 a.m. until 5 p.m., you do the math, until the next day, 5 p.m.
Just a side note.
That's probably I'm not saying every single day is like that, but.
So Roy shared a story. Tell me if this relates to you. And I don't think this is uncommon.
Mm.
He talked about, maybe you know the story already, that when he went to Mount Sinai,
Yes.
and he had stick shift.
Yes.
He said he was not going to make it home. He would
Yes.
fall asleep and every light lit off, and he would stall.
Yeah.
And wake up, restart, and then fall asleep the next light. Did you ever have experience
no,
my God?
closest one is getting almost got a speeding ticket on Rocket Parkway.
Yeah.
I was so tired. I was speeding along.
Because to stay awake, you have to speed to stay
Well,
awake.
I guess so. And then Rocket Parkway is pitch black at 2 a.m. or midnight.
Yeah.
So next thing I know was there's a light flash at me from the back with siren on and everything. So obviously the cop was trailing me the whole time.
How fast do you think you were going?
I don't remember now.
He was asleep.
Yeah, so I got pulled over.
That's okay.
But listen, and I got pulled over, and he said, you speeding. And then I go, oh, really? I'm sorry. No, what saved me is my Army uniform.
That's what I said. Yeah, your military.
My military uniform saved me because I said, I'm sorry, sir. I slept the night, and then so once he saw my uniform, I was good to go.
I believe it.
Yeah, he was like, you're good to go.
You have to show respect.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good. I mean, it's not like I'm drunk or something. I'm just like, I'm tired. I need to get home.
They understand.
Yeah.
Any other stories from residency that you remember memorable?
Ooh.
Before you get into maybe San Antonio?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a good one that pre-San Antonio. But no, I had a great class. There were only 13 of us. These are they really picked the cream of the crop. They're all from very good training programs, and we learn from each other. So, and Walter Reed is also it's called the flagship of the Army.
When you went to Walter Reed and Roy was there, did he give you moral support? Did you still have a relationship with him?
It's a different. I only rotated with him one time. Remember, this is internal medicine. I have to learn everything. I gotta go to cardiology, endocrine, blah. So no, I only rotated with him one time. I actually didn't see him as much as I used to see him when I was work for him.
Oh, okay.
But definitely family. There's definitely a family feel. I love everything about the military. I wear the same uniform. Everything is pressed. I don't have to think about what I wear.
You know what? It sounds like you now. You wear scrubs.
It's a different fraternity, but just everything about it. I liked it.
I believe you.
If I did it again, if I go, I have a time machine. I have to do what I have to do. I would do it again.
One thing for Edward, I sense from Peter, he does well with structure. Like you can get in a regiment and just keep going. Is that fair?
Pretty much, yeah. I think Ethan is kind of like that too.
I'm the same way, just because I'm not organized. I need some structure, like stable. I look better like that.
I think a lot of successful people are able to romanticize the grind, and I think that's what I'm hearing from you. You can, in some ways, even though it's tough, you don't regret it. In some ways, you miss or appreciate some things about it. Is that fair?
That's very fair. So the 3 years came and went very quickly. I had a great training, and during the summer I would go to San Antonio to get and then San Antonio I would hang out with the Chinese people at a Chinese church.
So after residency, where they kick your butt, now you're like going to San Antonio is like you're relaxed a little bit. You passed the test, am I correct?
Yes, I'll have to tell you a great story. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
San Antonio. So first of all, I've never traveled outside the D.C. area. I was very fortunate. D.C. Virginia, went to school, but because I could never afford airline tickets to get out, so military allowed me that opportunity. So here's a big story. So I knew I wanted to be a GI specialist, but it is nearly impossible to get a position from residency to what we call fellowship. That's your next.
So you skipping a step. Is that what you're saying?
So the way you get there, you have to work 2 years as a general medical officer after you graduate, anywhere in the United States.
Is that like internal medicine?
Yeah, internal medicine, right. So you're like, it's a general medicine, like a family doctor.
Okay.
Or you can do a hardship tour to outside CONUS. So like in Korea. So I signed up to go to Korea so I can have a quicker path to be a specialist. So I got accepted to go to Korea. 2 weeks before I left, I got a phone call from the chief of Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio and said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Kadakia. I have a GI position for you." Do you remember the story of I think it was Martha when in Acts when Peter was in prison and there was an earthquake and all the shackles came off them. Remember Peter? So the group of people praying for him.
Yeah.
And I think it was Martha, correct me if I'm wrong. So Peter knocked on the door in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, let me in." So Martha was so excited that she ran back to his group without opening the door.
Oh, is that what it was?
So when I heard this news on the phone that, hey, you got accepted, congratulations, you can come to San Antonio. I was so excited. I just dropped the phone and told my mom,
While
"Hey,
the person was on
I'm
the
going to
phone.
San Antonio."
Yeah.
And so I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, I'm going." And after a while, I go, "Where's San Antonio?" Texas. What's Texas? Yeah. So that's the kind of my introduction to Texas.
I believe it. I mean, he probably screamed.
Yeah, I was like shaking. So, and and then I have a great San Antonio. So
Let me pause. So I just want to compare you to Roy.
Right.
Don't
So
worry.
that's a fair comparison, but that's okay. You can compare.
In my opinion, based on what little I know of Roy, I'm not a doctor, but it seemed like in some ways he had a little bit of an inferiority complex. Like even though he must have been great, he felt a little bit insecure because of his upbringing. He didn't feel like he fit in. So did you feel like insecure or did you go, yes? It seems like you weren't that way. It seemed like you didn't feel like you were an imposter.
No, never. I've never.
You just embraced it.
Never inferior. And in fact, it gives me a challenge.
Okay,
It's
you were
always.
okay.
Yeah. So even if I'm inferior, it's fine because the only way to get there is go up. I think it's the toughest, the other opposite.
Maybe you and Roy have the opposite personalities then.
We might.
In some ways.
Yeah, but no. I think being an immigrant and a poor family in a way really helped me, my personality, because you can't get lower than where you are. I mean, the only way to go is go up.
Roy, I think he felt maybe somewhat because he came from Hawaii, humble upbringing. So maybe he's like, I'm just a Hawaii.
Well, yeah, we all have to walk our own journey.
Yeah.
But no, never. So it's always like a challenge. Always.
So you embraced it. There was never any hesitation.
Right.
Okay.
And so if I can fast forward to San Antonio, I don't want to bore my listeners.
Yeah.
So I got to San Antonio. I didn't know anybody, and I hooked up the Chinese church because.
You want women.
Huh? Yeah,
Girl,
I want to meet an Asian
Nice
woman.
girl.
So listen to this. So I went to Asian church, Chinese church.
Yeah.
So there were a few young people there at that time. Say, hey, we got take you to Target. Yeah, Target. Sorry, I'm blanking. Target. I never been to Target. That was my first.
That was a new thing back then.
Back then, yeah, Target. I was like, whoa.
I've never been to Target.
Yeah, it's a super.
It was growing. I never
It's a
saw
luxury.
Target until I was 14.
Target.
That's when it was new.
I mean, for me, at first time, it was growing before. But go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you got to come to Target, get your stuff for your apartment. Sure, let's go. And then so we went for a tour, and then we ran into a couple of Chinese people, and maybe some guys, some girls there. And then so this girl that was bringing me to Target said, we talked, and then we left, and he said, oh, by the way, that's all the Chinese people you're gonna see.
That's it.
That's it.
That's like a dog at the.
It's like, welcome to San Antonio. Don't expect to see a lot of Chinese people. If you want to meet them, you go to Target.
I'm trying to think. So my father was the same way. He went to Augusta, Georgia, because he was in the military. And you know what he did? He had the same. He wanted to go meet some Chinese people. So what he did was he went to local. Whatever laundromat or a restaurant, and he introduced himself. And because there was a very small community of Chinese people. I guess that's same like San Antonio.
I bet San Antonio, San Antonio, same thing. And of course, the rest of it is a different story. So I met Hattie at the church, at the fellowship hall. Yeah. So there was a young couple with young kids, and so I would go to the English. It's a Friday night fellowship. So there's the Chinese Bible study English Bible study, and then there's a fellowship hall that you meet, just like a CCC. At the end of the night, you have snacks, and that's, I still remember Hattie was with 2 of her colleagues. They're all pharmacists. They're a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Pharmacist nerds.
That's all right.
Yeah. So I call them the 3 amigos. The 3 of them. Yeah. And then I played guitar, and I had my guitar with me.
Oh yeah, that gets
Oh
points.
yeah, I guitar. And what's impressive is I could speak some Chinese.
I'm sure you speak more than some Chinese.
I speak some Chinese.
And Hattie's from Hong Kong too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was 3 Chinese nerdy pharmacist students.
Now let me ask a question about this community. Were most of them 2nd, 3rd generation Chinese? Like
yes, no, they've been there for they've been there.
You're a little unique.
Yes, so there are not a lot of immigrants to Texas.
They've been there for a while.
The students, they've been 2nd, 3rd generation.
I assume they're like Walter Wu. They parents maybe own a business.
Yes,
grocery store,
exactly. Yep, perfect.
Pop
yep,
shop.
That's it. They've been there for a while. Yeah, so that's kind of, and then again, the church is kind of my home base, and so I was very fortunate that I was the last year of the 2 years training program. So to be a specialist, now it's 3 years after residency. Back then it's 2 years. So after the gastroenterology board had figured out that 2 years is not enough training. You need 3 years.
So you were able to get paid more quicker.
I guess so. That's what we look at. Or
get freedom faster.
Freedom and maybe not well trained now. But I was very blessed because I was about to stay in the same hospital. So I feel like a super fellow that was getting more training because I get to learn the expertise from the senior doctors. There were a lot of senior doctors there. So I was a junior guy, so I can continue to learn from them for 4 more years. So and I got deployed. So in 1998, Henry and I decided to get married in early February, and then I got a letter said, "Oh, your turn. You need to go to be deployed."
Yeah. So tell me about that, because I remember you. I mean, I'm not going to tell all the stories, but I remember you saying about you having to wake up to make phone calls and showering and stuff like that. But go ahead and tell me how it was like getting married and being deployed.
Yeah. So, as much as nobody likes to be deployed, but again, as I think back at it, I'm glad I did. No, I'm really glad I did. It provided me the greatest experience because I know what's it like for the soldiers to live out there.
Where'd you go to?
Bosnia. So it was winter time. It was right in the middle, right around February, I forgot, November. So it's supposed to be 6 months. It's a 6-month tour. I think it was November to May. So that was it. So it was the coldest part. So we had to go to Germany to get training. It was cold. I mean, in fact, it was so cold that I couldn't get dressed. So we stayed in a tent, right? So it was so cold.
You stayed in a tent? So, you didn't stay in the barracks or anything?
Not in the beginning. We were deployed, so we had to move. So later.
So it was like a war. A little bit war.
Yeah, we stayed in a tent. We had a kerosene heater among 20 of us.
How many people is this? How big is this tent?
20 people.
Okay, 20. So it's okay.
Yeah, 20, and so we have been trained to sleep semi-naked.
Why?
In the cold, because it's so cold. Inside the sleeping bag, you sleep just with your underwear on. And then you put all your uniform underneath you, so your body heat will heat up.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I was trained, and so you're super cold, but you need to at least with something like that give you something.
I've heard that you want to take off your clothes so everyone's body heat warms up the tent or something.
Something like that. But it was so cold, I couldn't button my.
What is it, like 20? 30?
It took forever. Yeah, probably 20, 30 degree outside all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And you're skinny.
Well, I was more fat, more.
Okay.
Yeah, now, yeah. But anyway, so it would take me like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes to get dressed.
You tell me your hands were numb?
Well, yeah, I couldn't feel I couldn't, some of the uniforms, you have the button, there's no zipper.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. And then.
Like had Parkinson.
And then there's these, and then my toiletry bag would get stolen. Thank God they didn't steal my underwear. So I would go take a shower. Well, I would walk into the stall, this little building, the huts. It's for shower, and they would hire these local Bosnians.
They would steal your stuff.
They would steal your stuff. So I learned I got put inside my shower. So I would put my little toiletry bag. No, actually, sometimes they would just steal my electric shaver.
I believe that.
Yeah, someone take my whole bag.
Yeah.
So good thing they take my clothes. I would be like, I'd be like
really
covering up, walking up, covering myself up, right?
Yeah.
But so that's kind of unique, and I can tell you right now. So I met a Christian officer. His name is Steve Singleton. He came to my wedding because after I got out, I had my wedding. My wedding got postponed. So this guy called Singleton, he's a Christian, and so he came to my wedding. He said the first thing, he said immediately when he saw me, he knew that there's something not right about this soldier.
Yeah.
And the uniform just not like it's something off about my uniform.
Okay.
Unlike I was attached to the Second Cavalry.
Okay.
These are the real soldiers, right?
Okay.
So throughout the whole deployment, I was with him, and he and I have a lot of Bible studies together. He and I pray together to keep each other accountable spiritually. So that was really a big plus that God provided for me. And it's really very boring, and you're not allowed to leave the base. So once I got to San Antonio, and
Did you practice a lot as a doctor there, or do you just kind of just?
So I was a gastro doctor, but I was a general medical officer. I worked in the emergency room. I sew people up
So you're
when they cut themselves. Yeah, quite busy. A lot of it just very general, headache, cold.
So you wasn't like you're treating mostly combat stuff. It was just normal.
No, I treat right. Well, I mean, it could be an injury, and then I would help out. But I was just a general. It was a very boring job.
You know, one of the things that are popping into my head, Edward, is that there are no. You don't get a great testimony without a lot of hurdles.
Yes.
Or challenges in your life, and I'm hearing you talk about one thing after another. It's like you have to go through these things to be the person you are.
Right. And then there's also a joke that if you ever see a military doctor taking out their weapon, you better start running.
That beats you down to the final.
Yeah, if you see a doctor with a weapon, you better start running.
It's not good, huh?
Yeah, and so that's
I don't think you had to bring out your weapon.
Never, but we had to wear full uniform all the time. Whenever we leave the base, the convoy from Germany to Bosnia was rough because we had to stop many stop for checkpoints, and then you have to wear your Kevlar as a helmet. It's so darn heavy.
Your neck hurts?
The neck hurt because I want to take a nap, but I can't. And it's like a school bus. So there's nowhere to rest my head. So with this helmet on, it's so heavy. Yeah. It's like 10 pounds or something. So you have to hold my neck in place during the 8-hour ride from one checkpoint to another.
Can you wrap a towel around your head?
I don't know. No, that's out of uniform. I'll be in trouble for that. So that was rough. So just going through those experiences that I really can appreciate what deployment's like, what our soldiers go through.
Yeah.
And then when I got to Bosnia, it was very boring. There's only two things you do in Bosnia to keep yourself. You lift. Everybody work out in the gym. Yeah. And the way you get the protein, you eat the egg white. Yeah. And there were a lot of eggs, hard-boiled eggs. So every single person, there will be like 30 of them piled up and all the shell next to it. That's how you get your protein. Powder, huh? Yeah, that's your the poor man's protein powder.
Did you? Well, that's what whey protein is.
Yeah. And then the telephone. So back then, there's no internet.
Sure, of course, it's
no
1998.
97, 98. So there's something called Morale phone. Essentially free international call, and there's only a few of them, and they're open at a certain time. I think 5 a.m. and I'll be up there an hour before, get to that phone call handy. Like
you have to wait in line an hour for.
I try to be the first one in line because there's no time limit at the time. You could be stuck in that. Someone could be stuck in that booth first. So I'm like, I'm gonna be first one in that line. Yeah. So that's how I did it, and we wrote letters and. But there's no internet back then.
Of course,
yeah.
I didn't have internet.
Yeah, so back then in '98. So, and the good thing is that they cut short of my tour. I was like 4 months is 6 months. So what? And in a way I kind of like it. They didn't tell me until 24 hours.
Because that means that you are really thankful.
Yes, so all I can tell is there's certain happiness in my life, like maybe marriage, graduation, kids. That was way up there.
I believe
like
you.
when you get the letter said, yes, you are, you are released from your deployment. And thank God because I got promoted from a captain to major, so I got special privilege. They flew me back.
You must have felt like $1 million.
Flew me. It's
Yeah.
the cargo plane. And when I saw that, I broke out in tears. So number one, they said you can go home, and number two, we will fly you back. So they took me, with a Humvee to their Eagle base, and then when I saw that big old giant plane, I just broke down in tears.
So
at that time.
just curious.
Yeah.
If Roy had to fly somewhere, does he get better treatment than a cargo plane?
Oh, absolutely. He's a bird.
What's a bird?
But Colonel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do they get?
Well, first of all, they don't get deployed. Only the junior officers get deployed. I was a captain, so yeah, those guys go first. Yeah, he won't. I mean, he probably get a private jet, a private military jet. Oh yeah,
A private military
Oh,
jet. Dang.
yeah. Because
awesome.
so when I was at Walter Reed, I had to fly somebody from San Antonio to. I had to fly from.
perks.
I had to fly from Walter Reed to San Antonio. They have a famous burn center there, so we have. Nice private jet.
What do you get on this jet?
I don't know. I think I'm just a captain at that. No. You just have it's a nice private jet. I mean,
You get drinks and everything?
no. It's just a nice, quick in, quick out. It's a nice. Yeah. No, there was no such. It's military now.
When you talk about your experience, it's just one of the things that reminds me of is my father.
Yeah.
And he said the 3 best days of his life. The 2 days I'll share. The one was when I was born. And the second one was when he was drafted into the army during the Vietnam War, and and he got deployed.
Yeah.
And his deployment was to Fort Leavenworth instead of going to Vietnam. He said he
I
jumped
know which is
up.
worse. Yeah.
He jumped up for joy that he didn't have to go to Nam.
Yeah. Okay.
So I get it. Like
Yeah,
when you get your
that's a-
assignment,
Yeah, that's a military jail.
I know. Like he told me he just played cards all day long.
Oh yeah. Well, he's a dent. Was it dent? Was it?
No, he wasn't
before
back
that?
then.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay.
So, but he said that the other people,
Yeah.
when they get to deployment, they see Vietnam. You say you
Yeah.
hear grown men just crying. 'Cause
Yeah.
You know you could die.
Yeah.
So
You don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Mine's just peacekeeping mission, right? And I need to stay in the base to take care of people. But I think that's
Alright.
kind of I don't want to I don't want to go as long as last time.
No, you're good. You're good, Peter. So let's go to you.
Oh.
You come back. How do you go? What happens next when you finish your tour? Where does your career pick up from there?
Okay.
You're done with the military at this point?
Oh no. So I got. Oh yeah. So that was I think from that deployment, Hattie and I figured that I probably shouldn't stay to retire.
In the military?
Yeah, the military is 20 years. So I did 9 years. So there's another 11 years to go, and there will be a lot of moving around.
So 20 years. Why is Roy in there for 40 years?
And then I don't think.
No,
Well,
okay.
yeah,
30 years.
He did. I mean,
That's crazy.
Well, first of all, I was a junior
Yeah.
guy, so he already. Once you get 20 years, you're pretty stable.
Yeah.
They're not gonna move you around.
All right, cool.
But I still have 11 years of uncertainty, and again, I'll be in Persian Gulf, because right when I got out 2001, Persian Gulf. 9/11.
Yeah.
I remember, like, probably some of you remember. I knew exactly where I was, what I was doing, what
Were
time
you in
it
the
was.
military when that happened?
No, I just got out.
so you felt
2000, right? So if I
relieved.
stay, it would Persian Gulf because we're fighting a war.
Okay.
I would redeploy again. So I hate to say, I got out in time, and Ed and I talked, and it's probably not a good way to start a family.
Sure.
Yeah, we.
So you got out, and then where did your career? Did you come back to DC at that time?
Yeah, so it was hard to find a job at the time. I remember specifically, I interviewed 7 places throughout the whole Washington, D.C. area. Annapolis, Northern Virginia, and here. This is the southern part. Annapolis was the most northern part. And everywhere in between. I interviewed 7 places. And this was like the most welcoming. I don't know how to...
So the current practice you are right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when
we
you moved back. So you didn't move back to what was it, Arlington? You moved to Stafford, or where did you first live?
Right. I came straight here.
Oh, we moved right to this house.
Right. Exactly. I built this house.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
you must have been early then in this community.
yes, I built. It took a year. So.
When you say he built, he had someone build it for him.
That's still
Right.
cool.
Yeah. So I got it. I got accepted, and then even before a year before we already paid that deposit and built it.
Houses were cheaper back then.
Yes. Yes.
I would assume this house.
Yeah. Yes.
If I could pay
Yeah.
the price that you pay for this, I would buy 10 houses right now.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Well, first it's Stafford.
I know.
But back then,
it's reasonable.
yes, that's very. Yes. It's considered the booming.
What year is this? 2000?
2001.
This is way before the real estate bubble.
Yes. Oh, wait. 2001.
I bet it was like.
So it's just
deal.
a realtor give you different options. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll take it.
Yeah.
And actually, in a way, I've been another very blessed. A lot of people, and their first year, they leave their job after first or second year.
For the practice.
Yes,
What's that?
I talk a lot because it's uncertainty. But I have this, I guess, leap of faith too. As I think I like this group, and I paid down. I already built the house before I even came here. The house was pretty much built before I even on my first. So So I think it was. I started working for a month or two, and I already moved into this house.
So how many places did you said you applied to 7. How many did you get accepted? And how was that?
I think there were
like?
only 2 got accepted.
How was the interview like?
It was very casual.
What made you think you got accepted here? Was it just?
No, they gave me the offer.
Yeah.
they gave me. I think the other place gave me an
I'm sorry.
offer.
What made you think? What made you think was the reason they hired you?
I think it's mutual. They really need a GI doctor. The group. There's only 3. There were only 2 of them.
Oh, okay, so it was a lot easier to pass the test. Lot less hoops to jump through.
Yes. Fortunately, even now, there's a shortage of doctors, so it's not to finding a job but find the right job. That's the key. So I think and we get along, and the senior doctors retire now. We already picked up. We're now up to 11.
Okay, so in my opinion, then.
Yeah.
This is almost like a baby to you because you've been there for so long. It was.
Yes,
Was this at the earlier stages of the practice?
Oh, absolutely.
So
we moved already.
So this is like your baby.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So if I kept back, the only thing that I would miss is spending more time with.
Of course.
But it has grown leaps and bounds. It's not anywhere near. So so when I moved in, it's 3,000 square feet. Now we have 1,800.
18,000?
18,000, sorry.
18,000?
18,000.
That's freaking huge.
Yeah,
That's like 3 basketball courts.
18,000, sorry, yeah. 3 levels though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a mini hospital.
No, I wouldn't say that. There were 50 staff.
That's huge.
Yeah, we're 50 staff.
I say, I mean, that's, because I know.
Right.
My gym is about 18,000 square
Yeah.
feet. Apologize.
It's 6,000 per level. So
That's-
603.
That's really big.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like.
So when we move in, there was only 1 level. So when we move in, we only had 6,000 square feet.
I
And
would
then
think-
we moved down the basement, and then we moved to the top. So it expanded.
My doctor's office that I go to probably has about
Yeah.
18 doctors.
Yeah.
And I think probably about 7,000 square feet. That's not unreasonable. Like almost 2/3 of a basketball court or half.
So 12.
So that's huge.
Yeah, there's 11 exam rooms in that building. Yeah.
Mm.
So it has grown. Yeah, I've said it's like a little baby that's
So
grown. Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to ask you for myself too is like working as a doctor. Now, do you have to wear multiple hats now? Do you have to think in terms of being not just like Roy's government, so he's just pure doctor.
Yeah.
Do you have to think in terms of numbers and business
Every day, all the time.
So how does that work for you transitioning now from just being
All the
a
time.
doctor to now being a business owner?
But first of all, you have to hire. You have to hire. I was gonna say, I'll call it back. No, so first you gotta hire the right people, the right managers, and then good. I didn't have to be the managing partner. There are a few are very business minded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll say. So then you have to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
I would be a chairman of the logistics, chairman for the hospital, because we had to work with the hospital all the time. So
I see.
the whole part.
Is that where you do surgeries? is at the hospital.
Right, exactly. So I had to be the liaison from our group to the hospital. So I did 2 stints of that.
So how many more skills do you have to start wear? How many more hats do you have to wear? So in the military, just treating people. Now you're thinking about PR. You think about budgets. I mean,
you have to look at that.
What kind of the other hats that you wear?
Right. So the good thing is that the group has grown. So everyone kind of take their own little niche. But we have a managing partner. We are very blessed with 2 or 3 that are very business minded. Some people just know. Yeah, and then you need a very strong administrator. We have several managers and administrators. So that's how it works. Yeah. So you need to hire the right people to help you along. Financial, consultants. Yeah.
Let me ask Peter quick, but I'll tell for myself. Like, I think I juggle a lot of things.
Yeah.
I do work as a PE teacher.
Yeah.
I try to please my wife.
Yeah. Me too.
We all hopefully. I try to make sure I stay fit.
Yeah, sure.
I try to take care of the youth group at church. I have to think about my business in Kenya, as well as the charity. And so those are like 7 different, in terms of also being a good friend of different people. So I feel like I'm juggling like 6 or 7 things every day.
Yes.
Do you have a hard time balancing all the different things at work while still having a family and being a Christian? Is that hard for you?
Yes.
Do you feel like your brain is running all the time?
Yes.
And also music.
Well, I do so those things that I enjoy doing. Right. No one pushed me to do it.
Yes.
I mean, one thing my pearl is enjoy. If it's something you're passionate about, you can do it.
Of course, absolutely.
I can't tell. I don't have a magic playbook, but you need to have the right people.
You also have to be lucky enough to do things that you enjoy, like take pride in. I assume, right? Because if you didn't a lot of people do things that they don't want to do.
Well,
You're doing it right. You're doing it
like
right.
I said, my profession. No, my parents didn't pick it for me. Okay, I had to work for it. Yeah, and I went through the channels. I went through the journey. So no, I don't have that. So yeah, it's a lot. That's why.
How does your brain work with all these things?
I don't know.
Like, yeah, be a Korean. You can. Is your dad all over the place?
Stress. Yeah.
Like, let me ask. Like my father, every 10 minutes, phone call. He's always ready to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like it's like.
Oh, that's. I remember my family picked. Hey, how come you're texting back when we were having dinner?
Like.
Because I want to get it out of the way. I want to knock it out.
Do you find it stressful, or you feel invigorated by all the things you're juggling?
It's half and half. There's no way I can. It's half and half, right?
Yeah.
Anything we interact with, there will be stress. How you handle it, how you balance it, and how to prioritize it.
You take. Let me. I'm trying to think. Like for me, I think I worked at stretching my emotional muscles. So from. Obviously, I'm nowhere like you, but for me, I feel that to be good at everything, you have to have empathy. Like you have to learn to care. If you don't care about it, you're just going to not do it. So I have to constantly stretch myself in terms of caring about different things. Did you have to work at it? Like, did you slowly get better at kind of making your bandwidth wider?
As an adaptation, is prioritizing. And that's why I still don't get a lot of sleep, because there's always something to do, right?
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you have to pick your battles.
Okay.
That's my short answer.
I guess there's no easy answer. Just grinding all the time.
Yeah, well, you have to pick your battles. You have to pick what are your top things.
What are some of the things you had to sacrifice because you're so busy?
Sleep is one of them.
Yeah.
I think relationship.
Yeah.
And the way I say that is because my wife mentioned, how come you don't call this person? You don't visit that person.
Yeah.
So I think relationship. Like, when's the last time I went to a reunion? Other than medical school every 5 years. Relationship. So I sacrifice that part. I wish I could spend more time with my mom, but I'm blessed to have siblings. I can't go. My mom's getting older. So I think that those are the things that hopefully, as I'm transitioning, I'll shift into. I can go visit Korean at VCU and Ethan at Penn State more. I don't. As I give them the tools. Hey, here's a car, go. I wish I can be more part of seeing them grow up in their friends but yeah, so relationship.
Do you? This is for myself. You don't have to answer,
Yeah.
but I find that the only way I can achieve the goals that I want to achieve is that I become a very boring person. That means like outside of my goals, I don't have a lot of extra interests or hobbies. But I think you probably have a lot of hobbies. You're probably a lot different than me, but is that relate to you at all?
That's about right. That's about right. When you say boring, essentially you have, like I said, I'm boring relationship with, I don't, like a lot of people say, hey, have you kept up with so and so? No, I have not. Because I'm busy. So you're right. You essentially shut the door.
Just regimented.
Yeah, there's no way we can do it all, and there will be, it's a give and take, and that's the rule of life. You can't have it all.
No, Corinne, the next part I'd like to ask, you can feel free to scream at your dad if you want to or interrupt the conversation. But now that how does that now apply to being a father and balancing all the stuff you have at work, your A-type personality,
right?
And I understand, like, in order for you to be successful, you have to be driven. You have to have a desire for control.
Right.
You have to have a certain amount of anxiety because that means you want to make sure that you don't make a mistake.
Right.
And how does that apply to you now being a father?
Well, first of all, I'm not a perfect father, and I make mistakes.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm very transparent with my kids.
Yeah.
And I apologize to them sometimes.
Yeah.
I make mistakes too, but I'm doing the best I could with what I have, and it doesn't always work. And part of it is I maybe like for Corinne with medical field, because I do not know a lot about. My wife would say you should get her to be a designer or interior design, and I kind of shut it off because I'm there's the uncertainty. I do not know what that feels like and what would that take her, and maybe I can only give what I'm comfortable with this environment. So part of it is the selfishness, part of it is my own limitation.
Yeah.
But I encourage them to be certain things in the medical field. It's not just as a pride and arrogance, but more like, well, I know I've been there. I know what the environment is like. I think it's okay. So if you go into some of the field, I don't know what that really is.
Is it like a protective instinct you're saying?
I think so. And whether it's a mistake or, there's good and there's bad, like, and Ethan wants to be air traffic controller. And I hear,
I don't even know what that, you're talking about, like
air traffic controller.
In the tower?
Yeah.
You better be very bossy.
Well, that and stress, and that's the number one stress job. And again, I'm not trying to discourage him, but at the same time, I said, and then I'm afraid you're the junior person, you get on call every single night. All these things flow in my head.
I think it's got to be so stressful because there's so many delays now. People are probably going crazy at airports. I hate the airport.
Right. So the stress of, hey, you need to be extra shift. But bottom line is, I hope that's the short answer to your question. Yeah. So I take pride. I recorded their births. I'm a doctor, so I'm allowed to bring my camcorder.
Of course. You're like
I have all their births to remember and embarrass them.
That sounds awesome.
I remember, I have very good memory with pictures, in time what I was doing when it was.
That's kind of like me, Edward.
Yeah, I remember. Boom! I remember exactly what happened, and I have a lot of flashbacks. I can see what happened at a certain point in my life.
What kind of strengths do you think you bring as a parent, considering your background as a medical immigrant?
Yeah, sure.
And business. What are your strengths as a father, and then maybe what are your weaknesses?
Well, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I think, I dream big.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's my weakness. That I'm a dreamer. Mm-hmm. We talked about in my first interview.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. Mm-hmm. And there's expectation that, well, if I can do it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. And if I did it this way, then you can do it this way. But we all build a house different, or build things differently. Mm-hmm. Well, from A to B. So this is how I got from A to B. You can follow my blueprint.
Yes, of course.
Why don't you just follow my blueprint? I did it. We just follow it. I took calculus. Why don't you take calculus?
I do the same thing with Edward, by the way.
Right.
I try to give a blueprint. Is that fair?
Yes.
I don't expect you to follow it directly, but there are some
I
shortcuts.
think it's more of an instinct, and sometimes our instinct fails us. So
Yeah.
So I hope that. Yes. So we make mistakes along the way.
Any things that you found harder than you expected being a father? Corinne's not listening. Don't worry.
Smile.
Well, I think we want the best for our children.
Yeah.
And it's uncertainty. You don't know how that's gonna work. I think that's hardest.
Well, I'd say for myself,
Yeah.
this is what Roy tells me, and I think a lot of parents would say the same thing. The worst thing you could do is to have a lot of expectations. You have to let your kid.
Right.
And I understand for myself because I know that we only have so much control.
Right.
But nonetheless, you can't help but say, I hope my child becomes like this or that, and so
Yes.
that's me.
And that's a good one. No, that's a fantastic. I do, but I think I'm okay with that because part of it I get wisdom from just interacting with people, my colleagues, and all that. So, if I have certain like academic or financial, I would like them to have it, but at the same time, I really believe in God's will. I mean, not all of us will be designed to do that, and I think most importantly, they need to be happy people. You can have all the whole world, but you lose the soul. So, and being following the Lord is very important. And I'm blessed that Corinne got accepted, and I think Ethan will be next. But I don't tell them, hey, you need to be baptized next week.
Tell me about
it. Doesn't work that way.
Tell me about that conflict, because for me, obviously, I always want the kids to grow spiritually, and I'm sure the same way. How do you relate to that to your own kids? Because you can't force it. Because you force it, they become rebellious. But if you're too hands off, you're irresponsible. How do you handle that kind of?
No, it's a journey. When it comes to spiritual,
Passing that to your
it
kids.
really is. You read the Bible like the prodigal son, or I mean, God says His timing. And I think Pastor Sharon said the same thing. From A to B, right? It's not always a straight line.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Hell no.
So and some people won't come to know Christ until they've been through their rebellious or their phase. So God's in control, and it takes faith, and that's why we pray and we have a relationship, because it doesn't go from A to B in a straight line.
I will say that just for myself, I feel that my life has been packed.
Yeah.
Not say it's any better, more packed than yours, but I just go, wow, there's so many different things I've tried. And when I hear you share about it, it makes me feel more encouraged, because this is chaos or what uncertainty is the path for most people, even if they feel like
everyone. Come on, everyone. If you are a human being, it's uncertainty.
In my opinion, if you don't care about your life, your life is going to be pretty boring, because you just settle. But for anyone who wants to get to another place, when I hear you talk, I go, it's okay, Garrett, if you feel discouraged. It's just what happens. Part of it. But I don't know your thoughts, Edward. Listen to Peter talk about these different things.
I just feel encouraged to work hard.
You feel motivated to work hard.
Yeah, I don't relate too much to his story.
Yeah.
I still have a lot to go through.
You just started your journey.
Yeah, I definitely want to push myself.
Actually, one of the reasons I bought Edward here is because I wanted him to know what it takes.
Yeah.
That a lot of people go through the same journey.
Yeah, and even now, like, I'm thinking about cutting back, and what does that mean? If I cut back too quickly, I might live to be 100, and I'm gonna be, I just burning my reserve too quickly. All those things I'm not gonna go into, but we all do. I mean, if we all, we all know what's gonna happen, and there's no point of start living, right? Because we just sit back and everything's gonna fall into place. It doesn't work that way.
I will say I one of the things I had to grow a lot this year is to let go.
Yeah.
Because for me, trying to control everything drove me towards depression.
Yeah.
When things don't turn out the way you want, you work harder to try to steer back in the right direction, and it was hard for me.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not as driven as you are, but certainly I had to learn to let go.
Yeah.
But that's kind of related to what you're saying.
Sure. Yeah. So, Yeah, our faith is going to play along the way. Our spouse, and our significant others, friends.
All right. Well, maybe we can turn to the last thing I'd like to share. If you can talk about how now that you're 58.
Yes.
And you're kind of transitioning to part-time.
Yes.
I say part-time. That doesn't mean 50%, but winding back, scaling back.
Yes.
What do you want to do now that for the first time you might have more free time in your entire life? This is the first time.
Don't tempt me. You're tempting me.
I know, I believe it. There's been a lot of things you probably have put aside.
Yes.
And now you can pursue some of these other things outside of work.
Yes.
What are your dreams now?
Yes. I'm not trying to brag, and this is actually the easy part, because I've been asked this many times.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so this is a real blessing in my life. I don't dread, like, my God, what am I going to do?
You have a lot of passions.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend more time in it. And I think the most important thing is about relationship. That's going to be number one, because I can go call people. I don't have to constrain my time. And that's even with my spouse and my kids, because like this year I haven't visited Ethan yet, because I gave him a car. He drove to Penn State. I haven't visited him. To say, hey, just to say hi. Okay, this is what you do. No, I don't have time. And then I have to rush, always. And so you know about that, Gary.
I know. Side note: this is why Roy told me he worked in the military, because he said he wanted more time.
Yeah.
Because he knows when you're in a private practice, you just are.
Yes, it's all true. Yeah, it's true. It's all true. So there's like everything. There's a price to be paid.
One of the things I just want to share my own dream that was never realized. I was hoping that I could spend more time with my father as he got older, because I was like, oh, maybe one day he'll retire and I can do a little more with him. And I never got a chance to experience that. But I think that's what you're saying. Like, you want to make sure that you don't just die working your whole life.
And burn my,
Go ahead,
So, right now it's a work in progress, but I just need God to direct me and help me make those decisions. But if that's really going to happen, I won't have any regret, and I look forward to that. He will use me, do some volunteer, just more time to perfect my hobbies and relationship. So,
what other hobbies are you?
Oh no, just my music. It's infinite.
So you're still getting better. Are you still getting better?
I think so.
I don't know.
If I spend more time at it.
I have no idea, because like with sports, like you just can't get better at a certain point.
No, it's true.
Your skills.
No, I think music is a little different.
You can keep getting better.
Yeah.
Or is it just the violin that makes it special?
It's the music, because it's a different style and a different composer I always want to play, and it's here.
There's still another level.
Well, it's different. You can only run so fast, right? And you're not gonna run, right? But music, it's interpretation. It's get to play another. So I join different groups.
Do you have any other secret hobby? I keep talking about Roy, but one of the things I wish Roy would do.
Yeah.
He's such a gifted storyteller. Is that fair?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought, I'm not here to tell him to do anything, but I thought he could have been an incredible children's author. Like just like, do you have any other things you've always put on the side you always were afraid, or you didn't have the time to pursue?
Actually,
what would you like to do?
No, I think I have lots of hobby. I just need to spend a little more time at it too. Because a lot of times I'm frustrated because I can never go to that next level, because I have to stop. That's it. I always tell myself, like a little clock, boom, you can't go beyond it, because I have to do my work.
Hey, Corinne, why don't you come over here?
Yeah, why do you come?
I want to ask Corinne any thoughts that you're over listening. By the way, let me just brag about Corinne.
Yeah,
because
don't brag about Corinne.
I'm not a father, but I have that same
not yet
feeling of wanting to brag about people. And I just want to say, Corinne cleaned my refrigerator, and that convinced me that a daughter is better than a son. Maybe just by that. And I just want to say that Corinne is the most loyal girl I've ever had in the youth group. I'm not saying you're my favorite, because I have to have integrity to Evelyn, but but in terms of loyalty, I am amazed, and one of the most fun They just want to hype you up, and also one of the most responsible in your own way. Like when I say responsible, that doesn't mean you do everything. It means that even though you have your own FOMO, you want to do everything, you still try to make sure you check the other boxes. That's what I mean by responsible. You try your best. So just want to share that Corinna's here, and I am very much appreciative and love this young girl. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Corinne.
I'm glad we can share her with you.
Yeah. Yeah, she's wonderful. And just also the same thing for Corinne. I always appreciate you because no matter how many girls come and go through the youth ministry that part of, you've always been able to be a friend with each and every one of them. So you've always been like almost a secret weapon. I could always count on you to be friends with every girl. And recently I had you sleep over at my house, and you tried your best to be friends with Callan. She's a little tough, I know. She doesn't really talk, but thank you, Corinne, for all those things you do.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
It's God's blessing, really.
Anything you want to share? You listen to your father or anything else? We'll wrap it up.
I know he's hardworking. I know he's been through a lot, so he's set in his ways.
Of course. Hard to show with all new tricks.
Yeah, I know.
Hard.
It's sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but I appreciate
Yeah.
you.
Peter's hugging his daughter.
Yeah.
The way I probably would do the same.
Yeah, and also, I just real quickly.
Oh, she's running away. Come on, Corinne. All right.
She's gonna cry.
You're gonna cry?
Yeah, she's gonna cry.
And then you continue.
I think she takes after you. She's a little tougher than you might expect.
Right. Well, actually, one thing that we just had a real conversation is that as she grow and mature, and she interact with different people, and I keep saying, that Corinne, that you and I are very blessed, right? You and I are very blessed. There are people, have life tough, and the nice thing is that, and I say that because I have a tough background too. So in a way, so we need to appreciate what God has given us, and because we've been there, I've been there, family background's been there. So now that you do that, just don't take anything for granted. Really, literally, don't take anything for granted. That God gave us this. Use it wisely. Use it for others, and love others, and care about others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edward, you want to share any thoughts before we close up?
Honored for you here.
For your own experience, maybe why don't you share a little bit about what you're kind of going through, maybe why Peter encourages you or listening, why that matters to you, because you hear from me all the time, and go ahead from a different perspective.
I don't know. I've spent the last couple of weeks just kind of working, and I missed out on hanging out with friends. So trying really hard to do well in school. I'm not the best student.
Now that we're close.
Yeah,
that's humble. You're a bad student.
I know.
You're trying your best. Yeah.
I know. But I'm trying to do things that I hate.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have trouble prioritizing. Sometimes I'll put relationships before the things I'm trying to work on. So, and it's really stressful. Yeah, like what Garrett said, it's like a blueprint.
Yeah.
On how to make things work out.
Don't be afraid to work hard. That's one thing I take away from Peter. Do not be afraid to work, and don't be afraid to have delayed gratification. You'll get the chance to enjoy it in time.
Yeah. Hey, one last thing talk about college. Yeah. So, and I hope I'm not like I hope I'm bragging. I stuck my first 2 years because I'm very super focused. So I knew I want to go into medicine, and I know it's not going to be a tough road. So for first years, I don't go out. Now, a lot of times, my wife, we would go to my college, and they say, how come you don't even know this area, or even in Charlottesville, you don't know this area. Well, I don't go out that much, all my friends would go partying. I have to super focus. They have all the fun. You said so that I could do that. So all my friends would go fun and party. Oh my God, doing all this, and I'll be like library trying to memorize the periodic table element. So, but I also have that, I don't know, some sort of ego. I'm not saying ego is a word, but I would say, no, I can tough this out.
You take pride in it.
Yeah, right.
I accept it.
Yeah, I can do it. So anyway, I'm just sharing my journey, but I'm not saying that every single, and it's not for
everybody.
Just me. It works for me, but
not everyone is meant to work as hard as you, and we it's unfair for us to hold other people to our own expectations. Like this is not everyone could be a doctor. Not everyone can be hyper focused. We need other people. And I know I expect that from my partner. Like you have your partners, you expect them to work their butt off in the practice. I have Bubbly. I expect them to work his butt off. Yeah. And that's just how it is, you know. I accept that. Anyways. Well, Peter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Likewise, it's very therapeutic for me. I'm so honored to be your first person you interviewed twice. But hope that you use that as a springboard for others to continue their growth and continue to love, people, love God, and love others.
And thank you, Peter, always being encouraging to me. And I know that you're always busy, so whatever time I get a chance to see you, I appreciate it.
Yes, for the kingdom of God is worth every penny.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thank you. If you're interested, thank you for tuning. I'll let Edward end it.